What's going on YouTube? So if there's one name that comes to mind when someone mentions the word minivan, I wouldn't be surprised if it was the Odyssey. For the past decade, the Honda Odyssey has been one of the best-selling minivans, and Honda is changing up the lineup this year in order to reach some more buyers. With the departure of the base LX model and the addition of a new sport trim, the Odyssey sees a boost in standard features and style. So is the 2023 Odyssey the best minivan for you and your family? Let's go ahead and find out. So talking about the exterior design right off the bat, you're not going to notice any substantial changes for 2023 for most of the models. However, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the LX trim level has been discontinued, and Honda has also added in the middle of the lineup a new trim level called Sport. Now that's a model you will actually notice some exterior differences because up here in the front, everything's going to be a lot more aggressive and blacked out. The Sport model is basically putting, well, a more sporty touch on the Odyssey, including blacking out this piece of chrome that all the models have. Now, other than that, though, like I said, the overall design will stay the same, including our headlights. So you do have standard LED headlights across every single trim level of the Odyssey. These are reflector beams, and you do have the LED daytime running light. Down below, we have a separated incandescent turn signal, but we also have standard LED fog lamps. Next up, let's go ahead and take a look at our wheel options. So you do start out with an 18-inch alloy on the Odyssey, and as you go up to the Sport trim level, that's the first trim level that's going to come with 19-inch alloy wheels. On that model, it's going to be fully gloss black, matching with the front end, and then on the other two trim levels, you have a contrast design. This being the touring grade, we've got this kind of gray and contrast look to it. I do like the way these look, especially with this radiant red paint on today's model. You don't see this very often on the Odyssey. Now, speaking of paint, I do want to point out that you have a new available color for 2023, and that's going to be Sonic Gray Pearl. So that's a popular color in many other Honda products, and now it's here on the Odyssey. Taking a look at our mirrors, they would have a gloss black finish if you choose the Sport model. You are going to have standard heating as well as standard blind spot monitoring, but if you want power folding or auto dimming, you will have to choose the fully loaded Elite.
All right, guys, let's talk about the side of the Odyssey. Now, in terms of overall length for this minivan, you're looking at 205.2 inches, which, if you're comparing it to something like a Honda Pilot, is going to be pretty much significantly longer. And as you'll see in the rear area, as well as the third row, it's going to have a lot more space because of that additional length. Now, of course, this is a minivan, so you're going to have the door handle up here closer to the front, kind of like a Rolls Royce. You can think about it like that. And then, of course, for the touring trim level, we're going to have chrome trim around most of it. You can also get that Sport trim level that's going to kind of black things out to give you a sportier look. As you can see, working our way around to the rear, we do have a floating roof design, and then we also have one continuous piece for this chrome trim. So it goes all the way across the entire vehicle, which gives it a nice cohesive look. Now, in terms of the rear design itself, nothing changes this year. We're going to have that signature Odyssey look, which includes your rear wiper right here. We do also have an integrated spoiler up top. And then ever since they refreshed this model, we're going to have this black piece of plastic going through the middle. It's going to be a nice shiny black finish with chrome going through the middle. Then looking at your taillights themselves, these are going to be LED accented taillights. I do like that the accenting is LED. That said, all of the individual components are going to be incandescent. So we have the incandescent brake light, turn signal, as well as reverse light. Dropping down to the lower area, all of this is going to be a nice body color. I do like that they've left it as body color. And as far as your tow rating, you're looking at 3,500 pounds on all of the Odyssey models. Now, as far as your warranty information is concerned, Honda is actually increasing that for 2023. So you're going to have 3-year, 36,000 mile basic warranty, 5-year, 60,000 mile powertrain warranty. That's going to be the same as it was last year. That said, Honda is now including 2 years of complimentary maintenance, which is certainly a nice benefit to see added this year. Now, as far as your safety information, of course, that's important for a family vehicle such as this. Honda's making it easy on me. They're including every single one of their safety systems as standard equipment: forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, lane keeping assist, auto high beams, as well as adaptive cruise control. Well, guys, I'm a big fan of this red Odyssey on the outside. I love the paint color. Now let's go ahead and check out the very functional interior.
So walking up to this 2023 Odyssey, you will of course find standard smart entry as well as the brand's typical key fob. Of course, for minivans you do have the power doors and you have remote start as well. To get inside, just grab behind the handle, we'll unlock the door. There's a look around the cabin before we go ahead and climb inside. Now let's go ahead and discuss your interior color and material selections before we get into the cabin as a whole. So you are going to have cloth seating on just the EX trim level now that the LX has been discontinued this year. Everything else is going to come with leather seating. Most of those trims are going to come with a choice between black, gray, mocha, or the beige that you see here on today's example. Though I will point out that the new sport trim level, that's going to come with black leather only and red accent stitching throughout. Now, as far as the seats themselves, of course, very, very comfortable with this Odyssey. Nice and plush. You do have these fold-down armrest here for maximum comfort in that regard, and the leather quality itself is pretty nice. You will also have color contrast piping if you choose the Elite trim level. Now turning over to the seats themselves, the controls that is, you're going to have 12-way power adjusting seats as standard equipment. And as we move up here to the door trim, we have a nice leather wrapped armrest. We have leather in the middle, soft touch along the top, and you also find the gloss black accents for the door handle as well as right through here if you choose the Touring or the Elite trim levels. On the EXL and above, you have 2-person memory seating and 4 fully automatic windows. Moving to the upper dash, we have a leatherette piece up here with the stitching detail, as well as over here in the middle. A faux aluminum accent, more of that gloss black accenting through there, more of the soft touch material with the stitching detail in this area as well. And then this part is, of course, just going to be kind of open space, which I will talk about in a second. Now start it up, put your foot on the brake, and press the standard button. Now first off, taking a look at our gauge cluster, you do have this partially digital gauge cluster, standard on every single version of the Odyssey. This is a 7-inch display right here in the middle. You can go through all this information, reconfigure the design itself. You would also find rain sensing wipers on the top end Elite model. As we come back to the steering wheel, all but the base model will come with a leather-wrapped steering wheel. This is the typical Honda design. The wheel itself is going to be manual tilt and telescoping across the entire lineup and then heated on the Elite trim level. Off to the side here, we do have several buttons for our doors, our parking sensors. We also have the electronic parking brake and brake hold over there as well. Let's go ahead and talk about interior storage, because this is a family vehicle. We need it to be versatile, and it definitely is. So we can fold our armrest out of the way. You have all the space where you could just stick things. You could also slide this back to reveal the center console. Right now it's stuffed with our Bluetooth headphones right in there, but there's still plenty of space for coupons. You're going to need a lot of them because you got a lot of mouths to feed. And all of them are going to fit in there, no problem whatsoever. We've also got a USB port inside as well. This area here would be dedicated as a wireless phone charging pad on the Elite trim level. You've got your 2 cup holders. You have another humongous storage area, more connections, including a household style outlet right there. All this, like I said, is empty space, but we can also slide out this drawer here, stick more stuff in there, slide that back. And don't forget about all the storage in the door trims as well. So like I said, this Odyssey has certainly got you covered in terms of storage. Now, one of the reasons it can give you that much storage is because we stick the electronic shifter, up here out of the way. So for operation, you're just going to press D for drive. You can press again to activate sport mode, and you do have paddle shifters on the steering wheel. For reverse, just pull back on that trigger, and when you do, you will be greeted with a standard backup camera. All the models are going to have the active trajectory and multi-angles that you see here today. However, I do want to point out you cannot get a 360 camera even on the top-end Elite model. And then, of course, for park, just press the P. Now around the shifter, you do have your drive modes. You also have the defeat for your auto start-stop system. And we have our 3-stage heated seats. 3-stage ventilated seats are available on just the Elite trim level. We do have some nice ambient lighting along the lower portion of this area, as you can see. And then right above that, we've got our climate controls. So these are going to be 3-zone automatic standard climate controls across the entire lineup. You can just press this button to adjust the front. Press this button if you want to take control of the back. And you can also lock it out if you don't want your rear kids to make their own adjustments themselves. And then right above that, we have our volume knob. So there's going to be a 160 watt 7-speaker sound system standard on everything until you get to the Elite. When you get to the Elite, you're going to get 11 speakers and 550 watts. This being the Touring, we're going to sample that 7-speaker sound system. Overall, I have to say the sound quality is not that bad. Those numbers don't sound like they would be very impressive, but really it fills up the cabin just fine, and I imagine for most people this will be more than enough. Alright, so let's take a look now at the display. So this is nice and simple as well. There's just one size for every Odyssey. It's going to be this 8-inch display you're looking at right now. As you can see, you do have some touch-sensitive controls over here on the side, and then the software itself is going to be the latest version of the Honda Link system. You do have these tiles, which make operation pretty simple, and you do also have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay built in. They are wired. Now, both the Touring and Elite do have the Garmin navigation built in, and the Touring and Elite also have the cabin watch camera system where you can keep an eye on those second and third rows. You can even zoom in to make sure no shenanigans are happening back there. Now as we rise on up, all but the base model will come with this auto dimming mirror with 3 HomeLink universal remotes built in. And also, all but the base model will come with this standard size sunroof. As you can see, it does open up nice and wide, has a wind buffer, but a panoramic sunroof is not available because a lot of the models do come with this rear screen instead.
Well, here we are in the Honda Odyssey's rear seat. And if you haven't been in a modern minivan, I will tell you that these rear areas are some of the nicest spaces you can spend time regardless of price point. You can go to $100,000 plus level SUVs, and they're not as nice as what you get back here. So let's go ahead and break down some of those really nice features that you're going to use for your family. So first of all, as you can see, we do have a power opening rear door. That's actually going to be standard equipment on every single Odyssey model. So you have that power opening ability, so you can load in your child seats or whatever you're going to need, and you can shut it from the front or also just use the button here in the rear. You don't have to worry about shutting the door itself. Now, I also want to talk about some of your space figures because that's a really impressive element for the Odyssey. We're looking at 40.9 inches of rear legroom, 39.5 inches of rear headroom, which is good for the segment that best the Chrysler Pacifica in terms of space. You can also slide your seats forward and back depending on your needs. If you need more legroom in the third row or in the second row, you can adjust that depending on whatever your needs are. I'm 5'9" for reference. This is Drew's seating position. As you can see, I have plenty of legroom between my knees and the seat back. He's 5'8". I also want to talk about the seat back itself. We do have multiple seat pockets, so we have one up here at the top. We also have one down here in the bottom. Just a very practical space to spend time. Now, as far as some of the features and functionality, let's go ahead and hop into that. There are a lot of them, so bear with me here. Okay, so here in the middle, We do have 2 cup holders, nicely positioned for any type of drink you're going to need. If we drop below that, we have an HDMI port as well as 2 charging USB ports. These are the Type A variety. Off on the B pillar here, we do have rear vents integrated within. And then if you look up here at the ceiling, it's only here on the right side. We have our climate controls. So you can adjust your temperatures independent from the front, since we do have 3-zone climate, and it's going to be here on the right ceiling area. That's also going to be standard equipment. Now, as far as some other functionalities, you're noticing this right here. So we have a really nice armrest in the configuration I'm in right now with 3 cup holders as well as a little storage cubby. That said, you know that they have a middle seat in this Odyssey, so we can go ahead and fold that back up. That will allow you to have a full middle seat for a 3rd passenger in the 2nd row. We're not done yet, though, with the features, because you can actually fully remove this middle seat if you don't need it and kind of transform your Odyssey into having captain's chairs. As you can see, I can just fold down the center armrest here, no problem whatsoever. And Honda's also including Magic Slide, which, if you haven't seen it in some of our previous Odyssey reviews, if this middle seat is fully removed, you can slide the seats actually side to side as well as forward and back and reclining them. So very comfortable, lots of functionality with the seats to whatever your needs may be. Finally, wrapping us up, we do have a rear seat entertainment system. That's going to be included on the Touring trim level of the Odyssey and above. So the Touring and Elite will get that. You do also have quite a few functions in here. I'm not going to go through all of them, since Drew has probably mentioned them in the front of the cabin, but you do have stuff like "Are we there yet?" that highlights the destination and how much further you have to go, so your kids don't have to constantly be asking you. Now, obviously, you buy a minivan because you need to haul around a lot of kids. So we can go ahead and check out the 3rd row, since that's very important. In order to get back here, Honda's made it really easy. You just grab this little lever that folds the seat forward and all the way up in one fluid motion. You do that with one hand. As you can see, that's super easy. A lot easier than a lot of SUVs do have. Now, you can also have that middle seat removed, and you just walk back there if you have the captain's chairs in place. Now, hopping into the 3rd row of the Odyssey, it's almost laughable how much space you have in the 3rd row area. We're looking at 38 inches of legroom, 38 inches of headroom, guys. This is the most comfortable 3rd row that you can get. Minivans have the best 3rd rows, and it's just incredibly nice back here. I have like 2 or 3 inches of space between my knees and the seat back, and that's with this seat adjusted all the way back. So if you were 6'5" or whatever, in the 3rd row, you could slide those seats forward and have enough room. And also, you can see I have plenty of thigh support as well. And let's go ahead and talk about some of the features, because we're not done yet. We do have vents integrated here on the lower area, as well as 2 cup holders in the 3rd row. We have a charging USB port, as well as a 12-volt power outlet on this side. And then we also have 3rd row window sunshades. I didn't mention that in the 2nd row, but all of the Odyssey models do have rear window sunshades, and we're even going to have 3rd row window sunshades as well. Now, I sound like a broken record, but having a minivan is all about the family, and you're going to need a lot of cargo space if you have your family along for the ride. Now, as far as the tailgate itself, as you can see, this is a power tailgate. That's actually going to be included on a lot of the Odyssey models, EXL and above. In order to get hands-free functionality, though, you will have to go for that fully loaded Elite model. All right, and let's go ahead and talk about the amount of space that we have in this Odyssey. We're going to have a ton of it. So behind the 3rd row, we're looking at 38 cubic feet of cargo capacity. If we fold those seats down, we're looking at 88 cubic feet of cargo capacity. And then as a full-blooded maximum, with all the seats folded in the Odyssey, you're looking at 144.9 cubic feet of cargo capacity. I don't have to tell you that that is a lot of space. That is larger than stuff even as big as like an Escalade ESV. That is just an incredible amounts of space. And as you can see, with the 3rd row in place, I imagine a lot of you will need all the seats in place at all the times, and there is still so much room. One of the big things I want to point out is that this goes down. So normally you have a flat loading floor through here, but look at all the space. I have about 1.5 feet of room that just goes straight down basically to the ground for you to put whatever you're going to need. And part of that is because for the third row, it has a unique folding mechanism. So you just grab this little strap right here, and there you go, voila. It's as easy as that. You just pull the seat back and it folds into the floor to create a flat loading floor. We do have floor mats down there, which is why this is not exactly flat, but that's a really easy way to fold the third row and also very practical as well. We also have a little bit of space over here on the left side as well as above that for any of your needs, and we have a 12-volt power outlet to finish us off. You're going to have a 4-way power adjusting seat or an 8-way power adjusting seat if you go for the higher end models. What we have today is the 8-way power adjusting one, which does even include 4 ways of lumbar support, which is really quite nice. As far as the glove box, though, we do have a really good sized glove box. As you can see, they have an owner's manual in here, and it's perfectly nice sized. As far as the coupons, let me grab those out of the center console, because if you buy an Odyssey, you probably have a lot of kids, or maybe you're taking everyone to soccer practice. You're going to need to save money on food because there's a lot of mouths to feed. Today we're going to go to Pizza Hut and get a large specialty pizza for $14.49. Not sure if that's very good of a deal, but we'll see in the comment section. Maybe some of you have tried it and you really like that. Now up top we do have a sun visor, we have a mirror, we have some lighting as well. It's a very wide sun visor. And we can also detach it. There is not an extension in the end, though, surprisingly. Well, hey guys, as with some of the cars that we've been reviewing recently, as you know, we're in a chip shortage type of market here. We see it in the comment section. You guys already know about all that's going on, but it's very difficult for us to find vehicles that are not already sold. That is the case for this 2023 Odyssey right here. So in order and out of respect for that new owner, we're not going to be driving this vehicle. We're just going to be talking about some of the 2023 changes right here real fast, and then we will go to a 2022 Odyssey test drive. So never fear, we do have an Odyssey test drive.
We're getting ready to head out on the road. Nothing has changed at all. The Sport model has no modifications whatsoever either. So everything we say is completely valid still for 2023. Just like that, up to 60, uphill, in this Odyssey. Now, as you can see, it's really a pretty powerful motor. A lot of different powertrain options have kind of been introduced inside of this segment. As you may know, the Sienna went hybrid only, but this continues with a more traditional style V6 engine. So this is a 3.5 liter V6, 280 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque. Those are good numbers for the class, and you know, like we just demonstrated, it moves this big thing around pretty well.
Yeah, and you know, I do just want to touch on, I mean, obviously the Sienna is this vehicle's biggest competition, and you know, I think it's a unique benefit to have the V6 as the only engine on this, because it gives you that choice. I don't mind the Honda Odyssey's hybrid powertrain, but it's not a smooth V6 like this. But, you know, just cruising down the highway, we're going 59 miles per hour. I mean, that is what this vehicle does best. It's designed to do just family cruising, go down the I-75 down to Florida for vacation, and just be in ultimate comfort. And that's what this Odyssey really shines at. As you can see, we just went over an overpass here, and it is incredibly smooth, and the ride quality is great. Now, we will also get a sound level reading when we get up to speed after this red light.
Okay, alright, it brings us to 55 here.
So going 55 miles an hour, we're looking at 57.7 decibels. That's a really good reading, and just by the seat of my pants here, this is about as quiet as any vehicle you can buy. Nowadays, like I said, this is super comfort and family focused.
So as far as the transmission, we have a 10-speed automatic on board. This is probably the best transmission in the class. It is incredibly smooth, works through the 10 gears seamlessly. No like hesitation, lag as far as like what gear to be in. I've always been a big fan of this transmission in every application that they use it in.
And as far as your drivetrains, this is going to be front drive only. That's particularly worth noting because a lot of the competition offers all-wheel drive, including that Sienna, so that is something that this Odyssey could certainly improve on, and that's today's airball is just that fact that that is missing. And as you can tell, on a day like today where the snow's out, you want to keep your family safe, and having all-wheel drive gives you that peace of mind.
So since Mason did mention the airball, it's time for me to mention the Slam Dunk. That for us is going to be just this mixture of space and features. The Odyssey really just is a strong contender, and especially if you compare like within the Honda lineup to the Pilot, you're going to find more space and more features inside of this Odyssey. Now, welcome back. Let's go ahead and talk about the updated pricing for 2023. So like we already mentioned, you've now lost the base LX trim level. That does jump your new base price quite a bit because you're starting at the EX trim level, which is going to be $37,340. You ramp up through the new trim levels, with the Sport being $41,210, and then the top end Elite topping out at $49,470. Now today's touring model starts out at $44,450. We have the optional paint, no other options besides for that, and the destination brings us to a total of $46,140.
So all in all, if you're curious on our thoughts of the 2023 Odyssey, this continues to be a very, very, very good choice in a competitive minivan segment. It really has all the features that your family's looking for, and also has a lot of really capability over something like a Honda Pilot. So if you're looking for a family vehicle, this is really a great option. I would wish that they hopefully will add a hybrid for the next generation Odyssey, though, because that's an area that is starting to show its age just a little bit. Well, guys, thanks so much for tuning in to our in-depth review of the 2023 Honda Odyssey Touring. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate you paying us back by hitting that subscribe button down below. It's completely free, and all it's going to do is give you some notifications on our most recent content that we would love for you to watch and check out. Also, follow us on TikTok and Instagram. Also, if you've noticed, I'm wearing Car Confections merch. You can also buy this merch on our merch store. It has a lot of different options in terms of colors, hoodies, configurations, whatever you're going to need, you can find it on there. Also, follow us. Damn, I already said that. And we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.